Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. Welcome to this Hangout on Air. Let me start my timer and get going. This is the fifth episode in a series that I have started with a view to help entrepreneurs who have lots and lots of ideas and would like to succeed with lots of projects. In this episode, the focus is on change theme. Change is inevitable in life, and whether you like it or not, business is part of life. Let us discuss this and more today. I have great pleasure in welcoming my panel of business owners today. As usual, in the agenda for today, we begin with just a minute, where each panel member takes center stage and gives a 60-second elevator pitch, followed by a short presentation covering the topic of the day. Today, it's going to be change theme and how it relates to Prince 2 methodology. Then we shall have a discussion with the panel members sharing their experiences and insights. I shall talk about what is coming up in the next episode, and we conclude for today. As in the previous episodes, I aim for half an hour, but I would not dare to cut off anyone when the discussion is lively and adding value. We have come to the just a minute section. Each of us will have a minute each, and we shall give you our 60-second elevator pitches. Within a minute, each of us will try to explain why anyone should contact us, how will it be helpful for them, and how can they contact and connect. There will be a penalty if you go over a minute, which is meant to be fun. The penalty is you will have to say the sentence, integrate, simplify life 3 times. I apply the same rule to myself, whereas the penalty for me would be decided by the panel members. Let me be the first one to start the whole thing going. I have a 1 minute timer set up here. And let me start. Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. Wake Technology is my company. I believe in living a simple life. I believe in thinking differently. I am proud to share my beliefs with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. Here's my simple way. Avoid the cowboys. Work with the Indian. Let the Indian handle technology, and you live an integrated, simple life. To integrate, simplify life, contact me through my Google Plus page or my website wake-technology.com. Hope that came in within 60 seconds. It is our guest's turn now. I shall call out each of your names and start a timer. We have now come to the topic of the day. I shall show you a short presentation. Let me start off with the agenda for this short presentation. The agenda, as usual, is answered to 3 questions. Why change? How to handle change? What can a small business do to handle changes successfully? Let me start with the answer to the first question, and let me quote Mahatma Gandhi. Be the change you want to see in the world, said Mahatma Gandhi. Change is inevitable in life, but when you change your viewpoint and change yourself so that you are the change you want to see in the world, you become very powerful. Let me tell you a snippet of a story from Star Trek Enterprise, The Next Generation, Season 3, and episode entitled The Prize. The story is several groups, including the Federation, are bidding for rights to manage the entrance to a wormhole discovered near a resource-poor planet called Barzan 2. This wormhole is expected to provide a shortcut to the distant Gamma quadrant of space. As the environment on the planet is fatal to most humanoid groups, the Enterprise is hosting the negotiations. Stable wormholes are rare, and the people of Barzan are hopeful that they now have a great opportunity. The negotiations are going on the Enterprise when a Ferengi delegation arrives uninvited and demands that they be included in the bidding process. The behavior of the Ferengi would remind you of a door-to-door salesman who would not go away even when you tell him that you are not interested in what he is selling. The Ferengi are quite rude and demand chairs in the bidding process. The Barzan leader graciously allows the Ferengi to participate, even though the mannerisms of the Ferengi make everyone a bit uneasy. Please note that the Ferengi are only interested in profit and nothing else. They don't care what you think of them as long as they earn profit. Lieutenant Commander Data informs Captain Jean-Luc Picard that as Barzans do not have manned space travel yet, they used an unmanned probe to study the wormhole. Captain Jean-Luc Picard wants the wormhole to be studied extensively. Enterprise would send its own unmanned probe into the wormhole, and Captain decides that Commander Data and Commander Geordi LaForge will enter the wormhole. Businessmen would call this due diligence before deciding on a partnership deal. So, after further studies, Geordi LaForge and Data get into the wormhole in a shuttlecraft. This is one of those dramatic scenes of Star Trek. Lots of flashing lights, sparks flying, change of color, etc., etc. The Ferengi fear that they would be at a disadvantage unless they send in their own people. As you know, the Ferengi don't trust anyone, and they also treat everyone as their competitors. Data observes that they are not actually at the Gamma quadrant as expected. As per the readings on the instruments, they are 200 light years further away in the Delta quadrant. Geordi LaForge senses there is something wrong with the wormhole. He is concerned about the stability of the wormhole. Geordi LaForge tries to convince the Ferengi that they are not actually where they are supposed to be. However, the Ferengi dismiss all the free information given to them. And as I said before, the Ferengi consider everyone to be their competitors and don't trust anyone. Geordi wants to go back to the Enterprise before wormhole collapses. Data tries to convince the Ferengi that they better follow them back to their ships as they are 70,000 light years away from their ships. Geordi invites the Ferengi to follow so that they can all be back with their ships safely. But the Ferengi remain adamant that they are competitors and not partners, and refuse to even acknowledge the fact that they are in the wrong place. Geordi and Data get back into the wormhole and get back safely to Enterprise. The Ferengi, however, firmly believe that they are right, but as a result are lost in the Delta Quadrant. Data reports that this end of the wormhole is currently stable, but the other end shifts positions periodically and eventually both sides will be unstable. This is a disappointment for the Barzan. The bidding process and all their grand plans amount to nothing, as none of it is of value, none of it is viable. In other words, their business case proves to be invalid and worthless. Let us get back to Earth, shall we? And I did not cover the entire story. The story as such has a romantic twist involving Diana Troy, etc. But none of that is relevant for us here. The point I'm trying to make here is, in business, we need to evaluate the situation continuously. Don't ignore the data that tells you that you are in the wrong place, or you will be lost in the Delta Quadrant like the Ferengi were. Be aware of what changes need to be made and make them. But make sure you involve all stakeholders. In Prince 2, this is handled using project board. Hope you remember the project board. The executive in the middle, the senior user on the left, and the senior supplier on the right. It's time for a mind map. I need to do a screen share, and as usual I shall pin one of the participants and then proceed. While I am doing that, participants can share their thoughts. This is a sophisticated mind map. Let me start with the definition of change as per Prince 2. Prince 2 defines change or an issue as anything happening during the project which, unless resolved, will result in a change to a baselined product, plan, or performance target. This applies equally to time, cost, scope, risk, and benefits. So that is the definition of issue or change as Prince 2 sees it. Now let me answer the question why we need to have any change control at all. As you can see on the right hand side of this mind map, if you have no procedure or processes to take care of change, then your project becomes non-responsive to stakeholders and quickly gets out of control. Much in the same way as this mind map itself has become out of control there. The other two aspects are identification of the issue or change and assessment of what is required to be done. Back to the big map. The project manager gets inputs from the specialist team manager, customer, and the sponsor of the project. One needs to identify every stage, every change, ensure every change is agreed before it happens or is made to happen, which means there has to be an assessment and control. A few points about the types of issues or changes project manager makes sure they are recorded. Whenever there is something which is off specification or expected to be off specification, the project manager assesses the issue and escalates it to the project board, or maybe raise a request for change for baselined product. Project board then considers the change budget and authorizes change request. However, day-to-day responsibility is mostly delegated to the project manager. This big section here that says during initiating project indicates the time when the change control processes are put in place. We need to define, maintain, and control the changes. There are several controls available, starting with configuration management strategy, configuration records, daily log, issue reports, etc., etc. The configuration management system is there to make sure that proper version gets delivered to the customer. Issues and changes are controlled properly so that customer is always given a great experience. We have now come to the end of the topic of the day presentation, and let me come back into your view by coming out of screen share. We have now come to the share experiences section, and I need to pin one of the panel members. Hopefully that presentation was worthwhile. Next week, same time, same place, we would talk about progress theme. Here's a mind map, and yes, I would explain it all in the next episode. So we are now closing in on the end of the show for today. Let me give the floor once again to our panel members for their closing comments. You are welcome to tell us how to reach you. I'm sure you would want to know more. As this is a series of HOAs, there is more to come. Thank you for watching the show. Do please share the link to this show on Google Plus and YouTube and so on. You can reach me through my Google Plus profile or through my website wake-technology.com. My closing comments as usual are integrate, simplify life.